Did you ever think the foods you grew up trusting might be working against you now? Back then, meals were simpler, made from scratch, shared around a table, no labels to decode. So, how did we end up with ingredients that sound helpful but maybe quietly doing harm? Today at the Hidden Menu, we take a deep dive into 12 popular foods seniors might need to leave behind. So let us start with 1. Canned soup. There was a time when a can of soup felt like comfort in a bowl, warm, quick, and easy on a tired evening. Most seniors grew up with pantry shelves lined with familiar labels, and it became second nature to reach for one when you did not feel like cooking. But what those old labels never mentioned was just how much sodium could be packed into a single serving. Over the years, recipes have quietly changed, and now one bowl might have more salt than you should eat in an entire day. For older adults dealing with high blood pressure, kidney concerns, or heart issues, that hidden salt becomes a daily burden. One retired nurse shared that she switched to low sodium soups only to discover the taste was flat. But when she checked the label, even those were still creeping above safe levels. Manufacturers count on brand loyalty, hoping folks will not look too closely at the fine print. They market it as the same product you loved decades ago, even though the recipe may have shifted quietly to cheaper ingredients and saltier fillers. The portion sizes look familiar, the packaging stays nostalgic, but what is inside tells a different story. Some seniors say they start to feel puffy or sluggish after regular canned meals and never think to connect it to the sodium. It is not about one can. It is about the pattern it creates over months and years. And for people living alone or cooking less often, it is an easy trap to fall into. A quick bowl that feels like a shortcut to comfort might just be cutting corners with your health. 2. White bread. Few things feel more harmless than a slice of white bread. Soft, simple, and something you probably had with nearly every meal growing up. Toast in the morning, sandwiches at lunch, maybe even a slice with soup for dinner. But behind that soft texture is a quiet nutritional gap that becomes more serious as we age. White bread is stripped of fiber, and with it, the ability to keep digestion regular and blood sugar steady. For older adults already managing things like type 2 diabetes or slow metabolism, that can be a real problem. One retired teacher shared that she used to feel dizzy between meals, not realizing it was the blood sugar spikes from her daily white toast. Even the so-called enriched versions often lack the full spectrum of nutrients found in whole grain options. It is not just about calories, it is about what you are missing. White bread digests fast, burns through energy quickly, and leaves many seniors feeling hungrier sooner. Over time, that can lead to unintended weight gain or fatigue. Doctors often recommend switching to fiber-rich options, but for folks set in familiar routines, it can be hard to break the habit. Grocery shelves are still packed with white bread options, often cheaper than healthier ones. And because the packaging looks wholesome or comforting, many assume it is still a good choice. But that everyday slice might not be giving your body what it really needs anymore. 3. Deli meats. There is something about deli meats that feels like convenience wrapped in nostalgia. A cold-cut sandwich was once the king of lunch, easy to make, easy to love. But behind those thin slices of ham, turkey, or bologna are some quiet dangers that grow more serious as we age. Deli meats are often packed with nitrates, sodium, and preservatives that can strain an aging body. One senior shared that after years of eating turkey sandwiches, his doctor finally pointed out the connection between his blood pressure spikes and his lunch routine. And it is not just about the salt. Some studies suggest that processed meats might even raise the risk of certain cancers, though that connection is still being studied. What is clear is that these meats often come with a chemical cocktail most folks never see on the label. And for people over 60, the body just does not bounce back from those small exposures the way it used to. Even low sodium or natural versions can still contain ingredients that are hard on the heart or kidneys. For many, it is a matter of habit and ease, something fast to grab from the fridge. But that quiet convenience can come with long-term costs. A sandwich that once felt like a quick fix may no longer be the safest choice. 4. Frozen dinners. There was a time when frozen dinners felt like the future. Hot meals in minutes, no need to stand over a stove. Seniors today remember when TV dinners were a new kind of luxury, offering meat, potatoes, and a dessert all in one tray. But today's frozen meals are often loaded with preservatives, sodium, and artificial ingredients, meant to survive long freezer shelf lives. For older adults trying to watch their heart health, cholesterol, or sodium intake, that quick fix can quietly add up. One retired postal worker said he lived on frozen meals for years, only to be told by his doctor that his blood pressure and cholesterol were quietly climbing. Even the so-called healthy ones often come with hidden sugars or excess carbs. The problem is not the idea, it is how far the ingredients have drifted from real food. Heating something that looks like a full plate does not mean it nourishes like one. And because everything is portioned and pre-cooked, it gives a false sense of control. But most of these meals are designed for shelf life, not senior health. What once felt like a clever solution can quietly become a source of fatigue, weight gain, or worse. The labels are small, the print is fine, and the consequences take their time. 5. Sweet cereals. Sweet breakfast cereals used to feel like a small joy at the start of the day. Pour the milk, listen to the radio, and start the morning with something that felt cheerful and easy. But many of those same cereals, still stacked on grocery shelves in familiar, brightly colored boxes, now hide more sugar than a dessert. For older adults managing blood sugar, inflammation, or weight gain, it is a sugary trap that is all too easy to overlook. One retired grandmother shared that she never felt full after her cereal and would snack again an hour later without realizing it was the sugar spike wearing off. The problem is not just the obvious sugary ones. Even cereals marketed as heart healthy or whole grain can contain several teaspoons of added sugar per serving. Over time, that kind of breakfast can set your metabolism on the wrong track for the entire day. And when eaten daily, it becomes more than a treat. It becomes a problem hiding in plain sight. The texture, the crunch, the memories of childhood comfort all play into our loyalty. But what you are really getting is fast-burning carbs, low fiber, and little in the way of lasting fuel. Doctors often recommend switching to protein-rich or fiber-heavy breakfasts, but that can feel like a big shift for someone who has started every morning the same way for decades. It is not that cereal is evil, it is that it is no longer made with the same care or ingredients it once was. And that small bowl may quietly be leading to bigger health issues without a single warning label. 6. Vegetable oils. Most people do not think twice about vegetable oils. You buy a bottle, use a splash in the pan, and go on with your day. But some of the most common cooking oils, like corn, soybean, and even canola, may be causing more harm than good, especially for older adults. These oils are often highly processed, stripped of nutrients, and loaded with omega-6 fatty acids that promote inflammation when consumed in excess. Over time, that inflammation can quietly impact joints, heart health, and even memory. One retired chef said he switched to olive oil after his doctor explained how those everyday oils were affecting his blood pressure and digestion. The trouble is, these oils are cheap, neutral tasting, and found in everything from salad dressings to baked goods. So even if you are not pouring it into your skillet, you are probably still eating it regularly. For seniors already dealing with chronic inflammation or arthritis, it becomes an invisible trigger, hiding in meals that otherwise seem healthy. Swapping them out takes a bit of effort, and often a change in taste or cooking habits. But that small change can make a big difference. Many people report feeling less bloated, more energized, and even clearer headed when they shift to better fats. And while these oils may not have a strong flavor, their long-term effects quietly build up. Sometimes what feels invisible is what deserves the closest look. If some of these foods sound a little too familiar, leave a comment, give this video a like, and subscribe to the hidden menu so you know what to keep and what to leave on the shelf. 7. Fruit-flavored yogurt. There is something comforting about a cup of fruit-flavored yogurt. It is smooth, sweet, easy on the stomach, and often sold as a health food. But for many seniors, that little plastic cup is hiding more sugar than you might expect. Most fruit yogurts are sweetened with multiple forms of sugar, plus thickeners, flavorings, and artificial ingredients that make it taste more like dessert than breakfast. One retired woman said she was eating yogurt every morning, thinking it was helping her digestion, until her doctor pointed out the 18 grams of sugar in every cup. That adds up fast, especially for those watching blood glucose or insulin levels. And because yogurt is often marketed with pictures of fruit or health-focused words like probiotic or low fat, it is easy to miss the real issue. Low-fat versions often compensate by adding even more sugar to maintain flavor. The result? A food that feels healthy but behaves more like a candy bar once digested. Seniors who rely on yogurt for gut health might be better off with plain versions and adding their own fruit. But the shift in taste can feel drastic if you are used to the sweetened ones. Over time, that daily sugar dose can fuel fatigue, weight gain, and even cravings later in the day. What seems like a smart start might be quietly steering you the wrong way. 8. Energy bars. Energy bars have become a modern replacement for meals, especially for folks on the go. They are small, convenient, and marketed as full of vitamins, fiber, and protein. But not all bars are created equal, and many of the popular ones are packed with hidden sugars, additives, and processed soy or whey that can be hard on older digestion. One retired engineer shared he started eating bars for lunch to save time, but began feeling bloated and sluggish without knowing why. A closer look at the label revealed ingredients he could not even pronounce, and more sugar than a scoop of ice cream. For seniors trying to maintain steady energy, heart health, or blood sugar, these kinds of bars can do more harm than good. They may look healthy, but many are built like candy bars dressed up with health claims. The packaging focuses on protein or fiber, but the small print reveals sweeteners, oils, and fillers. For aging digestive systems, that kind of overload can lead to cramps, constipation, or just a general sense of discomfort. Some bars even contain caffeine or stimulants, which can disrupt sleep or raise blood pressure, especially if eaten in the afternoon. There are better options out there, but they are harder to find and often more expensive. That makes it easy to reach for the cheaper, familiar ones, not realizing what they are really made of. What looks like a shortcut to good health may just be another modern food dressed in a friendly disguise. 9. Margarine. There was a time when margarine was sold as the heart-smart choice. Lower in cholesterol, cheaper than butter, and easy to spread. It felt like the modern solution to an old problem. But many margarine brands, especially the older ones still lingering on store shelves, are made with hydrogenated oils that may quietly harm more than they help. These oils contain trans fats, which have been shown to raise bad cholesterol, lower good cholesterol, and increase the risk of heart disease. For seniors already managing heart conditions or blood pressure, this turns a morning toast topping into a hidden health threat. One retired nurse shared she grew up believing margarine was the better option until her doctor explained the long-term impact on her arteries. Even newer margarine products labeled trans fat-free can still contain small amounts under legal limits, hiding behind terms like partially hydrogenated. That means you could be spreading risk on your toast every morning without even realizing it. Butter, while not perfect, may be the better choice in moderation, especially if it is grass-fed or minimally processed. But for many, that switch feels like going backward. The truth is, margarine was never really about health. It was about shelf life and cost. And the effects of that trade-off are just now being fully understood. The familiar yellow tub in the fridge may look harmless, but it carries the weight of decades of marketing and years of quiet damage. 10. Microwave popcorn. Microwave popcorn brings back cozy memories. Friday nights, movie marathons, the smell that fills the kitchen in seconds. But most store-bought microwave popcorn bags contain more than just corn and oil. Inside the bag, chemical coatings and artificial butter flavorings can quietly introduce toxins that linger long after the movie ends. One retired teacher said she never thought about it until her daughter sent her an article about diacetyl, a chemical used in some artificial butter flavors that has been linked to lung issues when inhaled. The inner lining of many popcorn bags is also treated with substances designed to resist oil, but some of these break down into compounds that may disrupt hormones or affect the immune system. For older adults whose bodies are already more sensitive to environmental stressors, this can slowly add up. And the ingredients list, if you read it, often includes preservatives, coloring agents, and mystery flavorings that do not belong in a snack that should be as simple as corn and salt. Even the oil used is usually one of the cheap, heavily processed types that contribute to inflammation. While some brands have cleaned up their recipes in recent years, many of the cheaper or store-brand versions still use older formulas. The comforting crunch hides a modern industrial process that has little in common with stove-popped corn or popcorn made from scratch. And the harm is not dramatic or sudden. It is slow, cumulative, and invisible. 11. Bottled salad dressing. Bottled salad dressings feel like a simple fix. Open the fridge, pour it on, and suddenly your greens taste like something more. But many of the most popular dressings are filled with sugar, salt, preservatives, and processed oils that turn a healthy salad into a hidden trap. One retired man said he switched to salads to improve his heart health, only to find his blood pressure rising anyway. After some digging, he realized his favorite dressing was packing more sodium than a bag of chips, and a surprising amount of added sugar, too. That is the problem with pre-made dressings. They are engineered for shelf life and taste, not health. For seniors trying to improve digestion, support weight loss, or manage blood pressure, those hidden ingredients work against every bite of the salad. Even light or fat-free versions often replace fat with extra sugar or chemical thickeners. The creamy ones usually rely on soybean oil or corn oil, which, as we have already seen, can drive up inflammation over time. Making your own dressing with olive oil, vinegar, and herbs is simple enough, but it requires breaking old habits. And for those who have always trusted the bottle in the door, that switch feels inconvenient. But a spoonful of the wrong dressing every day adds up faster than you think. A salad should heal, not harm. 12. Soda. Soda was once a rare treat, an ice-cold bottle on a summer day, maybe a shared float at the diner. But for many people now in their 60s and 70s, soda has become a daily habit. And what once felt harmless is now linked to blood sugar spikes, brittle bones, and inflammation that lingers long after the fizz fades. One retired coach shared he drank cola every day for 30 years, until he ended up in the ER with a kidney stone. His doctor told him it was not unusual. The phosphoric acid found in many colas, especially darker varieties, can leach calcium from bones over time. That means higher risk for fractures, slower healing, and painful conditions like osteoporosis. Add to that the high fructose corn syrup or artificial sweeteners found in most brands, and you are looking at a drink that taxes both your metabolism and your organs. Diet sodas may seem like the safer choice, but studies suggest they can confuse the body's hunger signals and increase cravings for sweets. For seniors trying to stay active, mobile, and alert, this kind of daily stress on the system is a slow and silent burden. It is not about blaming a single drink. It is about recognizing how long we have been sipping something that was never made for long-term health. The bubbles may lift your mood, but the cost can weigh you down in ways you do not see until years later. If this made you take a second look at what's sitting in your pantry or fridge, share your thoughts in the comments, tap like if something hit home, and subscribe to the hidden menu so you do not miss the next thing hiding in plain sight. And remember, the truth is not always on the menu.